All right, hello guys. So we're back. We've actually had a name change, so we're now the Greasy Goblins. Um, yeah, don't ask. I'm not even sure what the name means, but I like it. I like it. Uh, we're gonna be doing today a Winds of Winter, kind of like theory slash predictions on Daenerys Targaryen. Just see where she goes and kind of predicting what she does in the Winds of Winter. I have a few things because I think like the start of her like plot in the Winds of Winter is kind of gonna be kind of simple. I have like a rough layout of how I think it's gonna go. But once she goes to Westeros, I'm kind of split on how I think that's going to go. Because there's a lot of ways I think George R. R. Martin could end the story, and we know it's somewhat gonna follow the path of the show. Just hopefully it's done better. But yeah, also if you guys would like to see this, I'm going to be doing a Song of Ice and Fire or Winds of Winter stuff or Game of Thrones the show stuff. Maybe we'll do a couple of videos like that every Wednesday. So if you guys want to see that, it'll be every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. So yeah, let's get into the video. So kind of a recap. In Dance, basically the last thing we see is she does the whole thing where, she comes out of the fighting pits with Drogon. And then does the similar type thing as in the show where like there's like a couple riders or whatever that, come up to her at the end of a dance. So then looking at the Winds of Winter, well, how I think the Winds of Winter is going to have her going is I think, similar to the show. She's gonna basically go to Vase Dothrak. I think she will unite the Dothraki. But I think it's gonna be done differently. I don't think there's gonna be a whole thing where she goes and she like goes into I forget what it's called. It's a special building, but I forget what it's called. But like and does the fire thing. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be more like she does something on Drogon. Because the Dothraki have been always a people that follow strength. So Khal Drogo, for instance, was somebody that never lost a battle, was a great, warrior, all that, and they followed him for strength. When they see a dragon, with Daenerys, that's the biggest thing of strength you could possibly do. So I think they'll kind of worship her like kind of like a goddess almost. And that was the other reason that Khal Drogo actually wanted to marry Daenerys was because of the dragon eggs and stuff like that, and he wanted a dragon, for strength and stuff. So it just kind of ties in really well, and then it also will tie into the next thing really well, that the Dothraki all come with Daenerys, right? You have, all these Dothraki coming with Daenerys, and that's actually going to leave a lot of land open. So, the Dothraki land, I looked it up before I started recording, and it's like, for us in the world, it's like Europe and like part of Asia. So that's a lot of land. And you look at the problem with Essos and why slavery is such a big thing and why a lot of people don't, or most people in Essos don't want to give up slavery is because that's all they have to trade. They don't have they're not farming, they're not, having resources. Their main thing is the slave trade. So that's how they profit to get, trades from Westeros and such. So I think what could end up happening is, Daenerys, is going to leave at some point. But she's going to basically have that land, be farmed and stuff like that to help the Essos economy. This is what I think is going to happen. I think all that Dothraki land, since the Dothraki are coming with her anyway, a free land. There's nothing there. There's stuff that's untapped, that's not been mined, not been farmed, any of this. There could be great, land, because you look at all the cities in Essos, they're all harbor cities. They're all on the water. I could definitely see, that happening. And that's how maybe the Essos economy fixes itself and how slavery ends up, dying because it's not as needed. Because you're going to need all these slaves to be able to, be farming, all this stuff. So kind of just like a modernization, I guess, kind of how like the United States was. I saw this reference, from, somebody I was watching that it's kind of like how the United States was when we got all the land in the West. And basically we were just giving out land to people just so we could, unite the country, the West to the East and, all that. But that's what I feel like could happen there. So getting back to where I was at, so Daenerys takes all the Dothraki. She takes them to Meereen. They liberate the siege, probably just destroy them. Kind of how they did in the show, where she kind of just rolls through them, no problem. Probably takes their ships as well. And then, so the Victarion things is something I do have a little bit of a question mark on. I think somehow either Daenerys is going to get their ships by force, or Victarion actually does become an ally of Daenerys. Not sure on that one. Let me know what you guys think as well on all these theories and how Daenerys is going to, get through Winds of Winter and then A Dream of Spring as well. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you guys think about Victarion. I think he has a very interesting plot because they bring up the Dragonbinder horn that is Euron's. And there's something that's very odd that they say is that when basically his hand is infected and he calls a red priestess to fix his hand, which just makes his hand black and charred. But it's, works better than ever. The red priestess says, it's not the person that blows the horn that is in charge, it's the master of the horn. Now, Victarion takes this as, okay, I'll just get somebody else to blow the horn, but the dragon will be binded to me. Personally, I don't think that's the case, because it is Euron's horn, so I feel like if anybody blows that horn to try to get the dragon, it's going to become Euron's dragon. So, that's kind of a Euron thing, but not sure if that's going to be used. If that's just, I find it odd that they bring that up and maybe it's going to be tried. Who knows? Let me know what you guys think about that too. I think it's a really interesting theory, as well. So with that, you have Victarion, his fleet. You have the Dothraki. You have the Unsullied. You have all this army. I think she's going to reinstate Hisdar as probably the person who's just going to lead Meereen, because they have a lot of the same ideologies. His was just he wanted the fighting pits opened because he has a lot of fighting. So just economically, it made sense for him to want to start the fighting pits back up. So I think she leaves him there and then probably leaves him with like maybe a guard of people to protect him, to install his rule. And then he does kind of some of the things I talked about earlier with, them trying to, use the Dothraki land. So after that, I think this is where it gets a little interesting. Because the show excluded a very big character in the books right now that was never introduced in the show, which I think is very odd. But you have Aegon Targaryen, which is apparently Rhaegar's kid, who was killed in King's Landing. But there's a lot of theories speculating on that. I'm not going to get too deep into it because it's not, it's not like an Aegon Targaryen video, but basically there's a good chance he's, not actually Aegon Targaryen. He's actually a Blackfyre of Illyrio. And then Illyrio, basically, it said that his wife is the Blackfyre. We don't know that yet. It's not confirmed. There's been a lot of hinted evidence with Daenerys when she is in the, what do you call it? It's the place where she's getting visions or whatever. House of the Undying. Okay, I stumbled on it for some reason, but she basically has a vision or something. So basically, Daenerys, she's told like there might be a Mummer's dragon, and a lot of people have speculated that's Aegon Targaryen. Now this is where I think the story kind of separates. I think Daenerys lands in Dragonstone regardless, just like she did in the show. But with that said, I'm not sure how this goes, because I think when she lands, what's Aegon going to be doing? It's going to take a lot of time for her to go to Vaes Dothrak, go back to Meereen, and then set sail, and then in that time, Aegon might have just taken King's Landing. He could just take King's Landing. I think he has the forces to do it now with this Dornish alliance, because I think he'll probably marry Arianne. And they could possibly just take King's Landing. So when Daenerys arrives, she's really not going to be looked at as the rightful heir or the person coming, because Aegon's already taken King's Landing. He already, took out Cersei, all the Lannisters, all of them. Possibly. So then Daenerys kind of just looks like a foreign invader at this point, because she has a bunch of foreign armies, the Dothraki, the Unsullied, sellswords. He doesn't really look like she did like in Meereen, where she's a liberator, people are, worshipping her. She comes into to Westeros and she's really just an outsider. She's not really looked at like that. So I think that could be something if, George just go the mad, queen route. That's something that he could definitely do. So I think there's two options. If that happens, I think maybe Daenerys and Aegon have a conflict, and then Daenerys probably ends up killing him. Because I don't think the wedding thing's gonna happen. I don't think Aegon and Daenerys are gonna get married. I don't think it makes sense for Daenerys' character, and I just don't think it's gonna happen. So I feel like that could lead to a conflict. Aegon doesn't want to give up the throne. Daenerys wants the throne. I think it could lead to a big conflict. So maybe that happens, and then we get the stuff in the north with the White Walkers. Or I've also seen this theory that she lands. Aegon has not taken King's Landing yet. You know, he's taking Storm's End. Maybe, you know, he just is, you know, just trying to gather his forces. Maybe he takes a couple other smaller, you know, strongholds and just improves his power. But he doesn't take King's Landing, doesn't do anything yet. And then maybe at this point, the North is like, the White Walkers are coming, we need help now. Daenerys, Aegon, they both meet up and they go north, knowing, okay, we're going to die if we don't do this. You help. Because I think either way, the dragons are going to have to be there when they fight the others. Because they're not, you know, the White Walkers are not really, they're known as the others for the most part in the books. I think that could work. And then maybe Daenerys dies in that. Maybe Jon has to basically sacrifice, you know, Daenerys because he maybe falls in love with her. That's how he gets Lightbringer. That's why I'm saying the longer you get into this theory, the harder it gets to predict, because we don't know where George is going to put some of these things, how quickly he's going to pace Westeros stuff. It's going to be interesting because I could see a situation where she dies fighting the others, or she comes back like Aegon, you know, they all go north, and you have the Lannisters, or I guess Cersei at just this point, Cersei and Jaime still at King's Landing, and then we see some of that Mad Queen stuff happen again. It's very interesting. So I want you guys to let me know what you think about that, and where you think Daenerys' story is going to go. I think something like that is going to happen. You also have Jon's heritage, which has not been revealed in the books. It's not confirmed, but it's just heavily hinted at, and it's probably true, especially with the show coming out that, you know, Lyanna and Rhaegar are Jon's parents. Creates a big ripple because you have the actual heir, because Jon is actually the rightful, you know, heir at that point. Unless Aegon, if Aegon is true, then he would be the rightful heir. So it's interesting because Daenerys goes from being first in line to third. So it'd be interesting to see how that would play out. I'm not really sure how that's going to play out in the show, or not in the show, the books. The show was done horribly. We're not going to talk about season 8 in this video. This video not about season 8. If you guys want to do a rant video about season 8, you guys let me know. I will do one, because when I watched season 8, I literally was angry. At the season finale, I was screaming at the TV the whole time. But yeah, so that's all I really wanted to talk about with Daenerys for this week. You guys, you know, talk about it in the comments. You guys talk with each other, see what's up. I really need Winds of Winter to come out, because I just got done reading the entire book series again. I need it. Okay, I need it. I know you guys need it. I need it. George, we need it. Okay, we don't need to be waiting another 10 years. We're not making it 20 years. All right. So yeah, I will see you guys all in the next one. Subscribe, like, comment for more from me. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys next Monday.